So today we have 2 new cases of Covid-19 to report. This comprises 1 confirmed and 1 probable case. The confirmed case is linked to the Marist College cluster. The person who has tested positive for Covid-19 is a student who has been, like the rest of New Zealand, in lockdown under Alert Level 3 and then under the Alert Level 3 restrictions. Lockdown under Alert Level 4 and then under Level 3 since March the 20th. They had been contacted by Healthline in the first week of April as part of the contact tracing and were not unwell at that time, so did not progress to testing at this stage. So as part of the broader testing of Marist students and staff as they head back to school, around 250 people have been tested so far. This is the only positive result from that group. The student has what we would call a weak positive test and is almost certainly late in the course of an infection. The significance of the weak positive result so late in the course of the illness, when the symptoms that the student reported were actually some weeks ago, it's not fully understood, and it's likely the person is not infectious at this stage. And this is a pattern we have seen in some of our recent cases and also has been observed internationally. And the South Koreans have done a study on a group like this and subsequently followed that up with a study that suggested that this was the result of some viral fragments still being detected by the testing, but not that the people were infective. So saying, we are taking a precautionary approach, as we should, and the student will remain in isolation and be retested in a week's time. I think this case that's been discovered through this testing across the Marist community shows the importance of that sort of testing, and I'd encourage others from the Marist College community to go and be tested if they haven't as yet. The other case we are reporting, the probable case, is linked to the St Margaret's Hospital and Rest Home cluster. And this is a household contact of a known case. It's a probable case because the person has symptoms but has been tested as negative but still considered to have had COVID-19. It will be important to understand the transmission path of any cases we do find in coming days, as we've said before, and our teams are working very closely with public health units to ensure that we get that information as quickly as possible. So the total number of New Zealand's COVID-19 cases is 1,488 and 1,138 of those are confirmed, and we will be reporting that number through to the WHO. There are 88% of all confirmed, probable and confirmed cases are now considered recovered. We have 2 people in hospital today. One is in Auckland City and one in Middlemore Hospital, and neither are in ICU. Sadly, today I have another COVID-19 related death to report. This is associated with the cluster at the Rosewood Rest Home and Hospital. The person who has passed away is a woman in her 60s. She had underlying health conditions and was considered a probable case of COVID-19 due to her clinical presentation and past exposure history despite testing negative. This woman has been at Rosewood since 2011 and was a much-loved member of the Rosewood family, and I'm pleased to say, and you will, I'm sure, join me in understanding that a staff member was comforted in her when she passed away. She was not one of the residents who had been transferred to Burwood Hospital, but was still at Rosewood. Our thoughts, of course, go out to her family and her friends today in the days and weeks and months ahead. Regarding our testing, there were 4,772 tests processed yesterday, bringing our total to 160,700 tests. There are no new clusters, and as I've reported previously, 3 clusters are now closed. So finally, our low numbers of COVID-19 cases continues to be encouraging, but we are by no means out of the woods. We need everyone to stick to the plan and continue to follow the rules around Alert Level 3. And not doing so does risk undoing all the good work we have achieved so far. We have seen how quickly this virus can spread, both here and in other countries. So do not give it an inch. Thank you, Prime Minister.
Thank you, Director General. Some of you will be aware of the news announced by Microsoft this morning that it is set to make a significant investment to establish a data centre region in New Zealand for its cloud services. I do note that this is subject to normal regulatory approvals. However, this is a hugely welcome development, not least for job opportunities in the near term for our construction industry, in the longer term for our ICT industry and local innovators, but because it serves as a signal to the world that New Zealand is open for business and quality investment. Our decision to go hard and go early on the health front for Covid-19 has been our best economic response. Now it's about positioning New Zealand to recover and building on investment opportunities such as this one. More broadly, it is my view that by tackling the virus, we have positioned our economy to be able to rebuild ahead of many others globally. That is our safe haven strategic advantage. International companies like Microsoft wouldn't be investing here or looking to invest here if they didn't have full confidence in the New Zealand economy, that we are ready to welcome quality investment and offer a safe place for operation in both a health and business sense. Today's announcement also represents a vote of confidence in New Zealand's digital future. It means the government and New Zealand businesses and New Zealanders will be able to access the scale and security of cloud services offered by a major global provider in a way that hasn't been done before here in New Zealand. I have two other pieces of economic news that I would just like to note as well. Trade Minister David Parker has announced that the 21 APEC economies have committed to working together to ensure trade and investment continues to flow to help counter the economic impact of COVID-19. This will promote a more stable trading environment for our food exporters and will also help provide reliable access to medical supplies. To quote the Minister, "In these troubled times, our region has recognised how important it is to act in concert to keep supply chains open and trade flowing, especially in essential goods and services." And employment figures released this morning by Statistics New Zealand, while covering the period before the worst of the COVID-19 impact, show the economy's underlying strength heading into this global pandemic. In the 3 months to the end of March, the number of employed people rose by 19,000, while the number of unemployed was up by 5,000. The employment rate rose to 67.5%, while the unemployment rate also rose slightly from 4 to 4.2%, remaining near its lowest levels in a decade. Obviously, a huge amount has changed in the last 6 weeks in New Zealand, and this global 1 in 100-year health and economic crisis will contribute to unemployment rising. Of that, there is no doubt. But we will continue to support people, to help protect jobs, to help grow jobs, and help support people's incomes. Fittingly, our Kiwi ingenuity story for today is a business story from the west coast of the South Island, where people are working together to make sure that they are supporting one another. I recently had a letter from Development West Coast to let me know that a coordinated effort was brought together an online directory of 180 local businesses that are back operating under Level 3. There's also help for small and medium businesses in the form of a rebate of $5 per delivery up to a maximum of $250 per establishment to help offset some of the costs associated with running a delivery service or using a courier service. www.nzherald.co.nz is a great initiative and a platform built in collaboration with Epic Westport, a PGF-funded digital hub. And I say well done to them.